Hey, don't y'all look great? A lot to talk about today. Obviously, we didn't record last week. WrestleMania is in the rear view. We're going to discuss some of the fallout that has come from WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley had to relinquish her Women's World Championship this evening. I'm sure Tom would like to jump in on that a little bit. Tony Khan kind of making some questionable decisions in the past couple of weeks, more so than usual. Can't wait to dive in on that. And we have plenty of other little odds and ends that we need to do some housekeeping on. So buckle up, Buttercup, because it's about to be a show. Cannot wait to put this one in the can today. Hopefully I can find the little, there it is right there. Right there.
Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
What's up, dude?
They just unveiled the ugliest tag titles ever.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they're still circles, but they're more golder. They're gold now, and they got big W's in the middle of them. Although that's not the brand.
Okay, well, I mean, we knew that was going to happen. I'm sure I'll see them here shortly.
Yeah, they're okay.
Well, that's good. That's good.
R-Truth thinks that Triple H is a magician because he made him appear. Anyway.
Oh, R-Truth. R-Truth.
How's your day going, buddy?
I've had quite the day today, actually. I spent like 3.5 hours cutting the grass today. Ran into some equipment issues, and then ran into some growth issues, and then ran into some more equipment issues. And yeah. So it took me what usually takes me about an hour and a half. It took me every bit of 3.5, 4. Had to use my Jeep to winch the mower up at least once. Yeah.
That's I was just looking. I'm like, oh, I gotta cut the front yard at least probably tomorrow. Get that done. The backyard not looking too bad. The front yard needs it again because of all the rain. Once you start, you can't stop. So I got to do that. Had a fun little interruption today with some IRS agents asking me some questions about a former employer of mine. So that's exciting.
Well,
almost made me late for softball. So that was exciting. Had me a little shook, but I think I'm all right.
Yeah, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, as long as shit, I didn't steal that. I don't have any money, so what are they gonna take from me? Can't get blood from a stone. Yeah, so yeah, watching that. Unveiled some new pretty ugly tag titles. Miz has the mic here. Some wrestling. You've been watching wrestling? I know you watched some with me. You were here.
Yeah.
Party.
I watched a little bit.
A little bit of wrestling. We hung out. So to let those of you at home know, Walt and I did hang out, and we did anticipate having a show on Monday after WrestleMania, but we did not. But we did hang out and watch WrestleMania prior to.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
had a good time.
That's on me. That's fine.
Some beers. Yeah, not entirely. But
yeah, well, we're not gonna have a show next Monday either because I will be out of town at a work conference. So I'm just gonna go ahead and plan that there won't be a show. And we'll catch back up with you here in a couple of weeks.
Hopefully by then they won't decide to, make the whole. They won't turn the wrestling world upside down more than it already has been in a couple of weeks, so we'll try to keep up with what's going on out on Raw tonight. You know what's kicked off the show on Raw tonight?
What's that?
Our friend of the show, Rhea Ripley, had to relinquish the title that she has held so steadfastly for a year, right? Since WrestleMania, right? So
Yeah.
360, what do we have, 5 plus 8, 372, 73 days, something like that. Because due to an injury, she will be out a few months. Now, that's weird to me for a couple of reasons. One, because they let other people hold titles through injury and just didn't make them defend them. So I'm not real sure why Rhea's got. Maybe she's got to have
Well,
surgery.
if you're referring to Seth Rollins, I mean, clearly they were on the road to WrestleMania, and I mean, you can't really pivot.
I suppose, but it happened to Roman a few times too. He had minor. I guess his were more minor, but he was.
Yeah, but I mean, Roman's also working a part-time schedule.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's.
I mean, it makes more sense in storyline. I don't know that they were doing a whole lot with Rhea after letting her beat. And this is kind of what I wanted to get at, I think, about all of this, is that I don't know that they were doing a whole lot with Rhea after having her beat Becky. I feel like she climbed the mountain and was at the top of it. Clearly, they wanted her to feud with Liv next, but I think this might actually work out better in the long run than it would otherwise, because this obviously gives them. Rhea Ripley's obviously she's part of a heel group, but everybody loves her, so she's got pure she gets babyface reactions constantly like that. In fact, tonight when she relinquished the title, they were, "Thank you, mommy."
Well, yeah, I mean, she's in a heel. She's the top of a heel faction. I mean, it's just the game recognizes game, pal. You know what I mean? Mommy's always on top.
But what this kind of, I guess, gives them the opportunity to do is let Rhea go away for a little bit and come back to an even bigger pop. And because it happened during that little backstage scuffle with her and Liv, it gives them the opportunity to probably put the title on Liv and then let Liv have a little fun title run, and then have Liv have a heel title run, because Liv's going to be a heel now because of she hurt mommy, right? So everybody's going to
right.
That's you don't get to be a babyface after you hurt the tippy top person. She gets to have a little heel run now, which I think is warranted, because they turned Bayley back to babyface. So we need some new decent heels, and Rhea. I feel like it was starting to get hard for Rhea to continue to be a heel. You know what I mean? So now you can have a little tournament, do some things, have Liv win the title, and then have her defend it against somebody. Let her have a couple of feuds, so she can hold the title for a little while, make herself not just a quick transition champion, and then have Rhea come back and have the two of them have a huge feud, whether it be for if it's at SummerSlam this year, or even if depending on if she has to have surgery or whatever the thing, and maybe it gets pushed out. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully they can set that up, so that here they can have a feud either at SummerSlam or maybe even towards something else. But I think maybe that was the thing, and maybe it's a. Rhea's been on top and been having to have and had a lot of matches and had a lot of time on the road where she's been part of multiple segments every night on both shows. Maybe it just worked out for her that she needs a little bit of time off, and absence certainly makes the heart grow fonder. And I do think that if she leaves and deals with whatever injuries, gets some home life balance for a little bit, and then comes back, she'll be better than ever. So
yeah.
I'm looking at it now from my perspective as a blessing in disguise for Rhea and for what's coming for her, because there's a lot of people who are ready to sort of pick up the ball and run with it. and I think that her return will probably be just that much more epic than whatever they would have done in storyline anyway.
Yeah, because I mean, I think going to WrestleMania Backlash. Well, they're not calling it WrestleMania Backlash this year. So, interestingly enough, they added that WrestleMania Backlash tagline during the Thunderdome era. Actually, right after the Performance Center no crowd WrestleMania, they started calling it WrestleMania Backlash. So it's been WrestleMania Backlash for a couple of years, but they've dropped that, right? So interestingly enough, I fell down this rabbit hole this week, and I watched the last couple WrestleMania Backlashes.
I think there was only 2, right? Or were there 3?
I think there was 3. There was 3. Yeah. Interestingly enough, right? We got a lot of closure at this year's WrestleMania that didn't require the same matches to carry over into Backlash.
Yeah, I agree.
That was a breath of fresh air to see that, right? And to see Cody come out and cut the promo, hey, like, I'm going to be facing one of these 6 guys, and then have the 2 triple threat matches, and then the match to figure out who it was going to be so we can start getting the ball rolling. I thought that was a really, really good call. Obviously, whoever – I don't know who won that match, by the way. I fell asleep.
It was on SmackDown. Who was there for SmackDown? It was.
Was it AJ Styles or?
It's AJ. Yeah, it's AJ and LA Knight. That's actually going to be a WrestleMania. It's actually going to be a WrestleMania rematch. But I mean, obviously, that it doesn't happen at Backlash. It's one of those 2 guys is going to face. I think it's going to be AJ.
I agree with that.
I think that makes sense.
It absolutely makes the most sense because we know that you're going to get, nobody's beating Cody at Backlash.
But he and AJ could have a banger, and that.
Yeah, for sure. And I can't see sacrificing LA Knight again. Do you know what I'm saying? That just really wouldn't be fair to his rising star. That they've managed to keep a fire lit under, which is very refreshing to see also.
I mean, I think a lot of that is his doing, truthfully.
Oh, for sure. But they continue to put him in prime spots to keep that fire going.
Yeah, for sure. So, it's they're doing the same thing, triple threats for the thing. We got DIY and the Creed brothers and the New Day facing off right now in a triple threat tag match. So that's kind of cool. So this is the one. No, okay, so whomever wins, we're not doing 6. It's like whoever wins this is the number 1 contender. So
hey, how do you like the minimized production?
So far it hasn't been. I know they're cutting back on the big like things
well,
that the.
I mean, you notice that the stage isn't as big these days either.
No, I guess I didn't notice that actually. The area around the ring looks pretty much the same.
Yeah, but down the entryway, they've been able to open up quite a few extra tickets down there by going to this minimized set structure. While they move away from the sports entertainment moniker and become a more pro wrestling centric pro wrestling show. I'm really going to be interested to see how the tide continues to turn under Paul Levesque and the Endeavor Group. I like the changes, man. Like the production being more in the production. I think that Leaf Fitting is doing a phenomenal job. The product feels different, and I love everything about it.
It feels a lot.
We were very much
the cut. There's not as many cuts. It feels a lot smoother. I feel like with Kevin Dunn, there were so many cuts, and it was move to this camera, move to that camera, move to this camera, move to, and it would ebb and flow depending on matches and stuff. Like there's been a lot of cuts in this match because it's a triple threat. But for one-on-one matches that happen a lot in the middle of the ring, there's a lot more time on the hard cam. which I really like. I like the hard cam shot. It's very stationary. I look up and back a lot when I watch wrestling. It's just how I work. So when there's not a lot of hard cuts, I feel like I always have a better sense of where everyone is, what's going on, how the match is going. But also the cuts have been they've made a lot of sense. It really just follows the action.
I think it's been great.
It's not like a lot of like, oh, we're gonna cut to who's on the outside. We're cutting up here. Look who's standing at the top of the here. Look who's over there. Look who's here. Look who's there. Look over here. Look over there. There was a lot of that, like cutting to people in the crowd, especially during like WrestleManias and stuff.
And you know what else I've been enjoying also is that they're not afraid to break the fourth wall these days, right? Acknowledging the crowd. Man.
Triple H did that tonight.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And like I can't wait to go to a show. Like I cannot wait to go to a show.
I'm excited to see what happens in a live arena with this new setup, with it being more of a direct product and less of a produced television show. So.
Because I mean, how many times have we said that like you go to an AEW show and it's fun, right?
Yeah,
it's
like
great. You go to a WWE show and it's like you sit in the dark a lot. I mean, that
they don't interact with the crowd really at all. At least they didn't. It was like you got to watch a live television show being taped, but you had no idea what was going on. Nobody, like, say what you will about AEW, but at least they had what's his name? Who's their announcer?
Justin Roberts.
Justin Roberts. Why did I want to call him Kevin Patrick?
That's the other chooch that WWE fired.
Yeah. But Justin Roberts did a great job keeping the crowd informed, keeping us updated, letting us know what was going on, telling us when we were coming back in. You felt like a part of the show.
Yeah, interacted with us during commercial breaks. Kept us hyped up. You know what I'm saying? Like, very well done on that side of the coin by AEW. And believe you me, pal, we're going to have plenty of things to say about AEW here in a little bit. I just would like to kind of close out, our thoughts on WrestleMania here and what we see moving forward. And I think we're doing a pretty goddamn good job of that. If you're here with us right now, we really do appreciate it. If you could go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, that would be awesome. Check us out, man. Keep us rolling. You know what I mean? Anyways, so I think like the production thing's been awesome. And with Leaf taking over, it feels different, like you said. And I think that moving away from some of the extra bells and whistles, the extra gaga, if you will, is a good thing, man. I think that the show watches much better on television too, right? I don't know. It's just this really weird dynamic. And the chatter on the internet is that Kevin Dunn leaving was the greatest thing that ever happened to WWE's television product.
So it feels to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels to me a little bit more like it used to.
Like a sports show.
Right. Like as WWE tended to evolve, particularly past the ruthless aggression era, I think that's when all the gaga really started. Like, I mean, obviously during the Attitude Era, there was always like managers and, hey, here's, the divas and everybody had a liaison or a manager or something. And so there was always some sort of scuffle or something going on around the matches. But, the production of it felt like very ring centric. And this has kind of brought it back to a very ring-centric kind of production. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that lends a lot to the piece of keeping the live audience engaged too. Listen, I love a good backstage segment that we get to watch on the thing. And, like the Firefly Funhouse being in PPG Paints for that was entertaining. I mean, they did a good job backlighting the arena and, really making you feel like that mattered because, they're, obviously listening to our reactions, for the television product while they're playing those vignettes because they want you to believe that the crowd is, being interactive there. But I do like the fact that everything has become a little bit more ring centric. Things are happening in front of us that would generally happen backstage. There's a definite shift here, and I think that's great. I do, however, want to take the time right now, Tom, to just acknowledge our tribal chief, Roman Reigns. What an amazing championship reign Roman Reigns just put on for us fans of pro wrestling. Um, I've heard a lot over the last 4 years. This is getting stale. This is getting old. I don't know how they're going to keep this up. I don't even watch because Roman's not even there. Like, kudos to Triple H, Roman Reigns, Vince McMahon, Paul Heyman on what would be a fantastic 4-year Universal Championship reign for Roman Reigns.
They held the line, is what they did.
From the return when he signed the contract mid-match to like almost cash in against the Fiend and Braun Strowman at WrestleMania Backlash, of all places.
Of all places.
It was pretty cool, man. What a great reign. What great long-term storytelling. And we're still getting that. And I'm interested to get your thoughts on that, but I want to just go ahead and put a bow on WrestleMania so that we can start moving forward. Overall, Tom, I thought the weekend was fantastic.
The only thing that I was disappointed in was Uso versus Uso. I thought that and maybe it was that I thought
way underdelivered. That should have stole the weekend. Like when they started running the vignette. I mean, I was at your house when this happened. When they started running the vignette for that, I was like a little kid, man. I sat up in my chair. I was like, "This is it. This is the one.
This is what we wanted." And then we got it, and we were like, "That was not good." It was like you saved up all your money and you're like, I'm gonna go buy myself a delightful filet mignon. It's gonna be amazing. And you save up your money and you buy yourself a beer and a filet mignon, and it shows up and your filet, you ordered a perfect medium rare, but it came out well done. Server told you, sorry, go fuck yourself. And that's that to me is what it felt like happened. I was ready for like a perfect filet, and I was served a chewy piece of roast beef, and it was not left a sour kind of charcoaly taste in my mouth. And
and I agree. Like I haven't been let down by a wrestling match in a very, 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 very long time. And I was let down by that. My expectation for that was here.
Yeah, right. We talked about it like the week before. We were like, this is gonna steal the weekend. How could it not? This has been building this for 20 years. Or whatever, 14.
Yeah. And I feel like WWE took the chance to use that with the value of hindsight here. I feel like WWE took a chance to use that match as a storytelling venue, and that should have not have been the decision that was made.
And I was disappointed, to say the least. I think they could have story told it just as well, maybe at the end. The ending, maybe they could have kept that the same, but maybe do a little more in the middle. I don't feel like that this helped either of the Usos.
Certainly didn't help Jay, and that's why he is now immediately in the main event picture for the World's Heavyweight Championship. So I think that they realized they may have blown some steam with him, and they needed to get the ball rolling again super quickly here. So I mean, kudos to Jay. He's absolutely earned this opportunity over the last 4 years.
I also think both of them are a lot better than what was showcased at WrestleMania, and I think that's really. I think that's really was
That's really where the injustice in all of this is.
Yeah, and we were sort of robbed. I feel like from what that was, because it's not like they're gonna get younger and we're gonna have the real blow off next year. It's like maybe you should have just done it, and if you wanted to do it again, fine. But maybe you should have just gone for it.
Absolutely, you know. I mean, and outside of that, I mean, I think that with the exception of obviously the Final Testament and the Pride, which was just fucking go pee, grab some popcorn, maybe get a new beer match. But overall, WrestleMania was a pretty fucking top-notch show.
I thought it was dope. I thought it was good. I enjoyed everything. I didn't hate that match either. I mean, I wasn't looking forward to it, so my expectations were not high. But I mean, I thought it was fine for what it was. It was clearly the get a beer, take a wee match. And you know, I thought that they played their hits the way they should have, and you know, they had built the feud, so I knew what was going on. I didn't particularly care, but it's not to say that like I didn't think that it deserved its moment as it did, and it got what it wanted, what it needed, what it deserved, and everybody got to take a pee and get a beer, and you know, good for the people in Philly, although fuck Philly.
Yeah, I mean, it was good though, you know. My biggest complaint in all of WrestleMania weekend, and you know what it is. Why in the fuck did The Rock carry a belt to the fucking ring?
I still don't know. And then he carried it out on Monday, the Raw after WrestleMania, and the whole crowd chants, "This is awkward. This is awkward." I don't know why. I feel like if you carry a title belt out, you have to defend it. But I don't know.
Crazy, bro. I just don't. I don't know. I did a lot of complaining.
It was a little too much self-flagellation, I think.
Yeah, and then he's out there after they won. He's holding it up like he did, bro. Like, yeah, you pinned Cody, right? But all you did was tell the entire world that he was finishing the story tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's all you did. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. That was cringy for me. That was next level cringe for me.
I feel like The Rock I feel like The Rock's been kind of cringy since Hollywood Rock kind of showed its face, and like sort of since the ruthless aggression era. I thought he was always a little bit cringy with John Cena. Not that Cena couldn't also be cringy, so it sort of all fit together at that point in time. But I feel like he brought out that cringy Hollywood Rock, who was the heel when he faced Cena Rock, which is the character they needed him to play. But at the same time, like you said, cringy. Why's he got the belt? Why did they make up a belt with a big Brahma bull on it? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, especially since he got that tattoo covered. I'm not sure why that's still his logo.
Well, I mean, but he got that tattoo covered with another Brahma bull.
He did, but it's not the same logo. It's like a bull that's charging forward. It's not like the bull that, I don't know. I get it. I know what you're saying. It's just not, I don't know. I would have left the Brahma bull if I were The Rock and put the other bull on it. But I guess the other shoulder's got the tribal stuff all over it. So
sure does, bub.
I don't know, man. But yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Rock carrying the title, the People's Championship out that he acquired the night before by having his grandma hand it to him was that? That wasn't. Yeah, that was his grandma, right?
Yeah. I tuned out.
Yeah, that's.
I was there, but I wasn't paying attention. You know what I'm saying?
You know, Leah Maivia, is that his sister or cousin?
That's his mom.
His mom? Oh, was it his mom?
Well, Leah Maivia is his grandmother, but she's dead.
Oh, she did. Oh, so his mom handed it to him.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here, son. I mean, to be fair, if my mom handed me a title, I'd probably walk out with it too. So.
Well, maybe, hopefully, you wouldn't have celebrated with it afterwards. No.
Yeah, maybe not.
So overall, man, what did you think about WrestleMania?
Oh, I loved it. I loved WrestleMania. I thought it scratched all the itches that I wanted them to scratch. Minus the Usos, disappointed in that, but it scratched all the itches I wanted to scratch. Wanted to see Bayley win. Loved that. Basically got what I wanted pretty much in every match that happened. I got exactly what I wanted other than the Uso match, which I wanted Jay to win, which he did, but at the same time, I wanted it to be a better match. I wanted it to really be something, and maybe we'll find out down the road. One of them had the flu, and like this is what they could put together without the other one shitting their pants or something. And that's if it's circumstantial, it is what it is. But otherwise, I loved it. I thought it was great. Watched every second of it. Was excited to watch every second of it. Loved NXT Stand and Deliver. I thought that was top notch too. I thought everybody, top to bottom, that whole weekend of WWE programming, I thought was just phenomenal stuff. SmackDown was the right hype show. Leading in, because it was mostly like, here's vignettes of like, this is what you're gonna see tomorrow, kind of stuff. But I thought it was all SmackDown got me hyped. Loved Stand and Deliver. Loved night 1. We all got to hang out together. Loved night 2. It was just a storybook weekend for WWE. And I finished the weekend. I'm like, I watched like 10 and a half hours of wrestling this weekend. Go me.
And not one 5-star rating was given.
Not one 4.75. Cody and Roman got 4.75, but not one 5-star rating was given. And you know what? It was the highest grossing WrestleMania of all time. So maybe match ratings don't mean shit.
I just, it's like, how much more of a mark can you be?
Me or Dave?
Dave.
I don't know, because it's like
he's not even trying to hide it at this point.
He's really not. It's like, oh, Will Ospreay, automatic 5 stars. It's like, really? You haven't seen this Will Ospreay match before? Because I think I have.
It's just there's just
when you have your favorites and your best friends, that's fine. And I hate, not to diverge on the subject or anything, but I hate that everybody in AEW keeps preaching the like, oh, well, you have the better in-ring product. It's not. I don't know why they keep saying that. Like, people just say it like it's like just this thing that you have to say. You have to preempt whatever you're going to say about AEW with saying their in-ring product is great. It's not great. It's actually like kind of bad. They throw a lot of people out there that don't really know how to wrestle. And I'll give you an example of this. So on Wednesday, Ashley and I watched Dynamite, right? I was at her house. We're watching Dynamite. We're hanging out. She's sitting there watching it with me, and she goes, "What the fuck is this? Why are these people so bad at this? We just watched WrestleMania, and I saw literally them culminate their best of the best against the best of the best. I can't watch this anymore. We have to shut this crap off because this is not up to that cut. This is not up to snuff of what was put on that I watched all weekend." And it wasn't. It was bad. It was slow, lots of stutter steps, lots of weird stuff, it's just not. Back to the Dave Meltzer thing. How much of a mark do you have to be? I don't know. I don't understand it, because what I think is good in pro wrestling is, yes, clearly a predetermined fight that we know who the winner is going to be, but people who could kind of flow through it, not just like, here's my spot, here's a spot, here's a spot, we picked out this spot, we picked out this spot. Like, it should look like a fight. I don't care that it's an act per se. Everything on TV is fake, right? Everything on TV is written and predetermined more than anything. In fact, if anything, WWE is almost as real as actual sports. It's like 70%, except for the ending. They figure out what's going to happen there, but everything else is sporty. Plus, it's new all the time. But at the same time, like, WWE just seems so second rate, and I feel like or AEW just seems so second rate, and that just seems to be what they continue to put out there, is just second rate stuff. And at this point, like, it's parts of it are just like even more second rate even than NXT, which I've been watching a lot of NXT lately, which has been really good, really, really good. They've really got a really good crop in NXT right now. Who I know they just brought up Braun Breaker, so Braun Breaker's going to be on Fridays. He just was on last Friday. It seems like AEW's making all the wrong decisions, and they're putting the wrong people out there, and they're not being managed well. Let's put it that way. That's probably the best way I could say it. And it's becoming painfully obvious, especially in contrast. But yeah,
I mean,
as far as Dave is concerned, he's like we shouldn't even listen to what he has to say anymore.
No, for sure. I mean, he's Uber Marcosaurus out over there. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Like, he has just kind of gone off the deep end in his own right. To not watch WrestleMania and find any 5-star value out of any of that to his own rating system just doesn't really make much sense to me.
I'd have thought Bayley versus Io should have got 5 stars.
Yeah, I mean, it had some Japanese talent in it, huh? I mean, why not Damage Control versus Bianca, Jade, and Naomi? I mean,
he gave that 2 stars.
He used to ride Jade's coattails, and you'd put Naomi over fucking to the moon and back because she left WWE, walked out of WWE, and then got the 3 Japanese talent on the other side. That should have been at least 7 stars. I mean, just based on that criteria alone. But I think that this is just kind of where things have kind of taken a turn, right? The fact that we can't seem to get how do I want to put this? A very clear-cut opinion on anything these days, and it just doesn't.
I think unbiased is where.
That was definitely the word I was looking for. Thank you. You're
I can read your mind. That's what I'm
so eloquent when you speak. But that's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I just don't know what he's watching, right?
I don't either. Yeah, because like I want to watch whatever AEW that Dave is watching and loving. That's what I want to watch too. But that's not what's on my television.
I mean, granted, if you're watching it from the pure art of pro wrestling, and that's what you're basing your ratings off of, and yeah, okay. I mean, there's definitely 5-star matches on AEW all the time, just from that standpoint. And I've picked a lot of these marquee matches as my match of the week on several occasions because they're just great wrestling matches. But they're cold and they don't mean anything, and that, tomorrow nobody cares. But like, to not look at some of these closing arguments at WrestleMania and be like, oh, that fucking meant a lot. That what a great way to culminate this story. Or, wow, that was really spectacular. I'm glad that we set this storyline in motion going this way. I just don't. I don't know how you can just discount what the guys are even fighting about, right? And we don't get a lot of that in AEW, and that's fine if that's how we want to do it, and we want to continue to just play in our very, very expensive sandbox with our very, very expensive toys until we run out of daddy's money. That's great. But stop doing dumb shit, okay? Stop fucking reacting to things that are truthful in a negative way. And Tom, I'm referring to CM Punk on Ariel Helwani leading into WrestleMania, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it. Well, we did talk about it a little bit. But some things have happened since, right? Yeah. And I don't understand the motivation to send the Bucks out there to show this footage that didn't contradict anything that CM Punk said. Nothing. And listen, I think from the outside looking in, I think that Phil has cast himself in a negative light for most of his career, and he deserves some of the criticism. I could be way off base, but this goes back 10 years. Like, this isn't just something that I decided because he quit or got fired from AEW. I just don't see you use CM Punk to pop a rating.
So about the CM Punk on Ariel Helwani, I think we did talk about it a little bit, but really what it said to me was that he just came out and like told his story. And honestly, after seeing the footage, like he didn't mince words. He was like, and this is also what you and I have said for years, right? Basically since Cody left, probably before then even. So I mean, we're talking about years now, pre CM Punk even entering AEW. Tony Khan is soft as puppy shit.
Yeah.
And Punk came out and his basics were Tony's a great guy, not a boss. They're not a business for making money. They're not in the same business. And nobody's a boss. It's all friends wrestling, which is what Jim Cornette's called it since the inception of it, 2019. All friends wrestling, and everybody, it's not. These people are all wrong. Everybody's wrong. And that's what we've been hearing the entire time. Everybody is wrong. You're all wrong. All of you critics, you're all e-feds. You're all, whatever it is. You're all, you're all marks. You're all, if it's not WWE, it sucks. It's, that's what you've been taught, and you're sheep and all this stuff. And it just seems like every time we get a new piece of information or a new episode happens or something new happens, some new scandal, it just proves everybody who has been critical of the AEW product right every single time. And Punk was as critical, but also God love the guy. I don't, you can call me a CM Punk mark as much as you want, but he can certainly make a point, and he can make it very succinctly and do it boom, boom, boom. He speaks in a way that I understand. He speaks in like bullet points, right? Which is how you cut wrestling promos. You speak in bullet points, and that's how he did it. He cut it by bullet point, bullet point, bullet. His literal point was, I pushed a guy and I choked him a little bit. And then, fast forward to AEW, we're going to air the footage, the security cam footage, which Eric Bischoff said there's not going to be, it's maybe going to be in color, but not great. It's not going to be a great shot. There's going to be no audio. And, it's not going to make anybody look any better. All it did was say, CM Punk told the absolute truth, because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
What CM Punk said, he could have, you could probably play that, what he said on the Ariel Helwani interview.
Yeah, as a voiceover.
To that, because there was no audio anyway. And it would have been exactly what was happening. It was exactly what happened.
Huh, Phil told the truth. That's interesting, huh?
Right? And then...
April, can you believe that this nice guy that's not a boss just validated my point on live television?
They were so taken aback. Well, let's roll it back a little bit to the week before, right after he'd said it. He had Edge come out, or I'm sorry, Adam Copeland.
Bro.
He had Adam Copeland come out and cut a very rah-rah AEW kind of promo. But he also, Adam Copeland's promo to this didn't really refute anything CM Punk said. It's like, we're all here because we're having fun matches with our friends. It was like, but that's the criticism.
Yeah, but you could also play voiceover of CM Punk saying, hey man, if you want to come out and cut a promo to a half, a quarter full building, we're in a different business.
Exactly.
Hey, I got to take this phone call.
Well, I'll talk about Mr. Copeland then.
All right, you go right ahead and do that. The floor is yours, sir.
So what Mr. Copeland came out and said was, more or less, that he loves AEW and what a great place it has become to retire for him. Because he gets to come play, and this is what he said prior to showing up in AEW. He gets to go hang out with his Uncle Jay, which is what his kids said, or with Uncle Jay, which Uncle Jay to his kids is Christian Cage. And he just got to go out there and he got to just, live his best life and have some dream matches that he wanted to have because, he's put a lot of time into his wrestling acumen and he likes to put on headlocks and turn, but he's not looking to do storytelling and acting. He's done that, right? I mean, he was a main character in a really good series in Vikings, and now he's in the new Percy Jackson series, which he's very good in. He has a very prominent role. So he gets to act and he gets to stretch that muscle when he acts, but he wants to also stretch the wrestling muscle because he spent so much of his life learning how to do that, learning how to sell, learning how to put on good matches, learning how to put that stuff together. And he gets to go out and do it with his best friend, who is also probably one of the brightest spots in AEW and is on the run of his career. So he gets to go out there and support his friend and have fun because he, as a person, I guess, is a draw enough. Maybe not really. He's kind of a mid-card level draw at this point. Sorry, Walt, I know. But, he didn't get to be Edge here, so he's not drawing eyeballs because also nobody cares. Why would you care? I mean, he already had his little blow-off feud with Christian, and he beat him, and he took his title. And, that's great and all, but now what, right? Now what? We're gonna reunite Edge and Christian and have them lose to the Bucks at Wembley Stadium or something. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It really doesn't from a television show perspective. And the matches are cold, and Adam Copeland, unfortunately, has been part of that because he has this Cope open, and it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna make it a segment for a cold. I'm gonna make it a cold match segment. So we just get Adam Copeland cold matches constantly, over and over again. And I've seen Adam Copeland and I've seen Edge wrestle a lot over the last 30 years, and I've seen him wrestle most of these people. I know somebody that sexted Tony Khan in the Oregon woods. Hey, really? Somebody that sexted Tony Khan in the Oregon woods. See, that's interesting. Did Tony Khan respond? Because I think that's going to be more interesting than whether or not people are sending sexy messages. Because I don't know if anybody else knows this, but there's a lot of creeps on the internet. They'll send a lot of sexy messages to a lot of people for no good reason other than they're anonymous on the internet. So, I don't know. Did Tony Khan sext anybody back? That's the better question. So, once we find out if Tony Khan sexted back from the woods, maybe he was out there doing peyote, having a spiritual renaissance, having a spiritual awakening. And then maybe, they came back and who knows? Who knows what happened? Who knows? The point is we don't know, but I do know what happened on AEW television, and it's stupid, and we shut it off because I've seen what's to offer everywhere else, and you can call me a WWE mark. I want AEW to do well. I really do. I want AEW to succeed because I think that when there is an alternative, that wrestling is better. And I think AEW needs to be this alternative, but it needs to be not garbage. Like, yes, it's got the money behind it and it's got a prime TV slot behind it, but is it really any better than TNA or any of the other productions that just don't have television time? I don't think that it is. I don't know that it is. And that's really the problem is that, like, when they came out, when AEW became a thing, people were starving for something else to happen because WWE sucked at the time. It was terrible. It was really, really bad at the time. Like, it was as bad as it's ever been. And AEW came out and they had a lot of fresh faces. They had Kenny Omega, they had Cody Rhodes, they had the Young Bucks, who we weren't sick of yet. They had Chris Jericho, who we hadn't seen in a while. Lots of good stuff was happening. You had the Elite, which still had Cody Rhodes as part of it, versus what was Jericho's faction at the time, the Inner Circle. That was all really cool. It was all well done. There was always somebody up in the crowd, somebody down here. They were cutting back and forth. They had MJF out there. Lots of great stuff was happening. But it seems like a lot of that creativity ended up getting played out. A lot of that stuff already happened. It was a little bit outlaw. It was a little bit mud show. It was a little bit crazy. It's a little bit more benign now, I think, really. Anything that exciting that happens tends to happen backstage, or, if they try to inject some excitement, like they did this week by showing the CM Punk attacking Jack Perry after they have a little scuffle. I mean, it was about as benign as could possibly be. I mean, I don't think this ranks anywhere near as high as the MJF, fire me, you fucking Mark, or the segments where Chris Jericho wins and everybody's shocked when he's the first AEW champion. He's like, oh, a little bit of the bubbly after he beats Cody Rhodes. Like nothing hits that level anymore. And I feel like AEW. I don't know if they started strong. They stumbled a little bit out of the gate, I think, but I think they had good intentions. And I think where they started, there was some fire there. There was a little bit of like, we don't know what we're doing. It was exciting, right? It was new. It was exciting. But they've sort of like fallen into this lull. And the lull is just like, God, this is not great. I mean, I'd almost argue that AEW may be worse now than WWE was when AEW started, and the ratings are starting to show, and everything's just starting to dwindle, and it's bad. I mean, I want to say Collision only got 250,000 views this week with 250,000 people, and that they weren't up against WrestleMania. They were just on a Saturday. There was no other competing wrestling shows. Only 250,000 people tuned in, and we're like, hey, let's watch AEW tonight and see what happens. And it's just nobody cared. Like, less people than, it's like 250,000 people. That's basically the population. That's not even the population of Pittsburgh. Really, like, it's really bad. Like, if all of Pittsburgh tuned in, they would have had more viewers. It's really not. It's not great. And that sucks because I want AEW to be a good product. They've clearly got money behind it. I love Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's the champ right now. He feels buried. Samoa Joe versus Swerve is coming up on the next pay-per-view. I'm not going to buy that pay-per-view. I love Samoa Joe and I love Swerve, but they made Swerve look like a punk on Wednesday. Swerve came out, or after their signing, Swerve cut a little babyface AEW promo. Swerve did the same thing after Adam Copeland did. He's cut a little babyface promo about AEW, about how it's a great place. But Joe beat his ass. Swerve bladed. Well, they almost caught that. But Swerve bled great. And then Joe came and kicked his ass some more. I don't know why. Swerve looks like he's getting his ass beat at the pay-per-view. I guess we'll find out. But, Swerve versus Joe, I think, is cool. If they put the belt on Swerve, I think Swerve's great. I think he can carry the belt well. I think Swerve could probably have a better title reign than he could have, like, a chase. But I guess we'll find out. I'm sure he'll end up having to fight Adam Page again, who was Adam Page the worst AEW champion to date? I'm not sure. He was pretty rough. It was a pretty rough championship reign. So I don't know. But, man, I wish AEW could find it. Maybe hire somebody that knew what was going on and they could find it. But, geez, man, like, I feel like I'm starving on Wednesdays, and they just keep trying to feed me shit, and it's like, I don't want this. Like, you guys can't keep just doing the same boring garbage over. Don't get me started on Shibata. Since Walt's not back yet, we're going to talk about Shibata because Shibata gets to wrestle every week. This guy fucking sucks. Shibata is the worst wrestler in pro wrestling, period, right now. Doesn't sell. Doesn't have match. He just takes slaps, really. People just slap him. That's his whole gimmick, is he gets slapped and like goes, oh, I'm tired. Nobody slap me more, please. Please. It's terrible. It's really terrible. He is the worst pro wrestler on American wrestling television. It is so terrible. He sucks. Shibata sucks. Okay? And I have no interest in seeing him. I have no interest in watching him wrestle. In fact, if he comes on wrestling anymore, I'm just going to shut it off. Click. No more Shibata. Click. You suck now, buddy. It's just terrible. So we're getting Dom Dom versus Andrade right now on WWE Raw. This is an interesting camera angle I'm getting right now. They're using the 4K camera for this, so I'm liking the more use of the 4K camera. Also, we've seen the crowd in here. This Raw is sold out to the rafters. Like, you remember when there was a time messaging in AEW programming is a mess? Yeah, it absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. The messaging in AEW is a mess. Like, they have, AEW can do no wrong, and everybody should love the company. However, the only, because we haven't actually seen Tony Khan on television in a long time, the only, company representatives that we've seen are the Bucks, and they're bad guys. They're obviously bad guys. And because they're showing footage, oh my God, did that ever fall flat? They showed that footage of CM Punk choking out Jack Perry, which is exactly what Punk said it was. That fell flatter than anything I've ever seen. That was the dumbest thing they could have done. It was really should have ignored that. Really should have ignored CM Punk on Ariel Helwani. I know they're not one to ignore a slight from WWE or from somebody in WWE, but this is the point in time where they really should have let it go. They really should have ignored that, and they really should have pressed on with some other things, because there are things on AEW television that are very good, but that wasn't one of them.
No, it's most certainly wasn't one of them. And, I think, too, another piece of business that took place on Wednesday was Will Ospreay kind of answering the Triple H thing from McAfee on Monday.
Yeah. It's not even if the best thing you can do is respond to things guys in WWE do, not on their show, but in auxiliary areas, like with Triple H on Pat McAfee or CM Punk on Ariel Helwani. The best thing you can do is comment on what people who are hired for who work for WWE said off script, off camera, on a podcast or something. If that's your top slot, right? Those are the most exciting things that happened on AEW on Wednesday. If that's all you've got to do, you need to really revisit what's going on here. And they're not doing that. It's just it's bad. It's real bad. And I don't want it to be bad. I want AEW to be good. I think I've said that 100 times. I want it to be good, and it's not good. Why isn't it good? They have wrestlers that are good. They just need to come up with something good to do. Hire you and I. Fuck.
Yeah.
We could write a better show. Literally, most wrestling fans could write a better show than this.
Well, I mean, and then just to kind of give you the state of where things are at. I mean, have you seen the videos circulating the internet? Tony Khan going out in between the setup for Ring of Honor after the AEW taping was over, begging people to stay and watch Ring of Honor?
No, he's doing that.
You haven't seen that?
He's taping all that stuff at the same time.
Yeah. We've been to a show, bub.
That's a mess.
He does Rampage on Wednesdays after Dynamite, and then he does Ring of Honor after Collision on Saturdays.
That's a mess. I can't imagine. I couldn't imagine. Collision's so bad. I couldn't imagine sitting through Collision and then being like, "Oh yeah, let me watch your worst show. Let me watch the show that's got less important people than this. Let me just stick around and waste the rest of my night. I could get drunk in a bar on beer that's a quarter the price and try to wash this fucking garbage show out of my mind that I'm sure I paid $80 for because you closed off all." That's the other thing, is that oh no, nobody's buying tickets. May as well only sell expensive tickets so we don't have to upgrade the people. Like, do you not have to buy the whole arena anyway? Like, is it not? Is that not how it works? You can't, like, my $20 doesn't mean anything to you. Like, just cut the ticket prices, man. Like, get butts and seats. Like, shit, sell them for $2 to have a buck night here in Pittsburgh. You'll sell that shit out.
Yeah.
I'd go for $1.
Yeah.
I'd go Friday and Saturday for $1. $2.
Yeah.
I'd give them $2 plus fees, which I'm sure will end up costing me $40 because of fees.
I mean,
I'll bring the family. Let's go. I'll bring everybody I know for $1. Fuck, I got it.
Pack that bitch. Even then, listen, realistically, $10. Pack that bitch.
It doesn't make sense. We've talked about this a bunch of times. Like, nobody goes to the shows, but it's also because the ticket prices are ridiculous. It's like they're trying to sell tickets like they're Billy Joel.
Well, they got to pay for Will Ospreay and Adam Cole and Samoa Joe and Christian Cage and Adam Copeland and Okada and all Switchblade Jay White.
Does an empty seat pay more than a living, breathing human?
No.
I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. Just make them $10. Oh, we're having trouble selling tickets. Cut the prices, man. Like, maybe, like, I don't know if you've met a human lately, but, like, everything's fucking expensive, including and especially tickets for wrestling shows. Like, cut them. Hey, $10. Kids are $5. Like, I'm a truck rally.
I'm gonna buy your $20 your $20 hat, your $30 T-shirt.
Yeah.
Like, there's obviously the beverages go to the venue, but that money goes to the venue.
Sure, but I can't imagine, like, the venue is charging them less for cutting ticket prices.
No.
I mean, block me out of the floor, but, like, put me up in the. There's other seats. It's an 18,000 seat arena. $10.
But I think, like, this is where we're at right now. We're begging people to stay in between tapings to a nearly empty arena, and the fans are heckling him from the stands. And it's a thing. And oh, that's actually really good. If the start of AEW was an epic boner, how limp would you say it is now? I mean, it's fairly flaccid, pal.
It's pretty flaccid. It's having it's having some erectile dysfunction.
And here's the thing: I want it to pop a blue chew, and I want it to find some stamina and some growth and some girth, and get to the finish line. But the problem is, it's just not helping either.
Shit, man, let them. I mean, let people come and show them that you have a good live show. At least, we put that over 100 times. It's a great.
I'll put it over till the day I die.
And if you know what, they're having trouble selling live tickets and obviously everything looks better in a big arena. And I don't know why they wouldn't just be like, you know what, the week before the show, whatever's left, $10, first come, first serve. Why not?
Do something. You gotta do something. Because, like, the product is stale.
It looks bad on television with nobody in the seats.
And the thing is, right? Like, I try to find good in every AEW show that I watch, and, like, the matches for the most part are always fucking on point.
There's usually at least 3 or 4 really good matches.
Why do I care?
We shouldn't, because those are the coldest matches too.
And, like, I get it that we've mentioned it several times on this program, and I get that this is Tony Khan's personal sandbox with his expensive shiny toys, and he's playing with them how he wants to play with them, and that's fine. Okay, but that doesn't always make you money. You're advertising a nationally televised, worldwide. We'll call it worldwide because they've been to Wembley once, and now they're international. We'll call it that's a better word. An international professional wrestling company, and you can't sell tickets to your venues. and your ratings are failing, and you keep bringing in top tier talent that should make a difference. But the problem is that your show is marketed towards a niche audience.
And even they're tired. They don't even watch anymore.
They are tired.
You're like the base of that niche right now.
Like,
and they're about to start hemorrhaging wrestlers too. That's the other thing too, is that all those guys they signed 2-3 years ago while Vince McMahon was still in charge in WWE that showed up and that showed up and took the paycheck, and Vince fired me, but you need me, and I'm a name, and here I am. Who's to say that they don't leave AEW for the WWE Legends contract? The Hardys might. Andrade just did. Who's next? Buddy Matthews, probably gonna be the next guy to go. Yeah. Malachi Black gonna go back to being Aleister Black once his contract expires, I'm sure.
I would agree with that.
He might even be able to negotiate Brody King coming back with him. I don't see why not. I think that would be great. Honestly, oh my God, I would pop for that. I don't know about you. I would be like, oh my God. And I think that's the thing they would do. MJF, we don't know what's going to happen with him. He might jump ship. Unless Tony gives him $500 million. I mean, let's face it, MJF is just going to take whomever throws the most money at him, and Tony Khan's got a lot of money to throw, and he could throw more than, because WWE is a business, and they have he's not worth $500 million. No wrestler is, but maybe Tony throws that at him or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and not to say that he would be dumb not to take that, right?
Right.
But at the same time, it's well, you shoot your career in the foot, but then he's also fuck career. I have I'm one of the 15 richest men in the world now. I'm not 30. I'm just gonna go buy an island and fuck off for the rest of my life. I can't spend this much money. You might do something like that, or shit. He can start his own wrestling promotion. Who knows what he could do? Sell it to WWE for $1 billion and capitalize on it. But what I'm saying is that it's gone still, and it's not. If it maintains this, it's gonna go, because people who thought it was the greener pasture are gonna have their contracts come up and they're gonna leave, and they're either gonna go back to WWE or they're just gonna take their money and go home.
You don't like these?
Huh?
You don't like these?
What, the Pop Sagas? What is that? Oh, those titles. No, I didn't like them as I saw them. Chelsea Green.
They remind me a lot of the big gold belt. So does that mean that and they've got red paint on them, it looks like? So does that mean that the other set of titles is going to look like the
blue paint?
Is it going to look like the WWE belts? Because SmackDown show, they all look like the network logo.
That's
and then big gold all seems to be on the Monday show.
It's all going to go to Peacock.
Because the IC's on Monday too, and it's got a WWE right in the middle of it too.
Yeah.
In the United States is over on SmackDown, and it's its own thing. Huh. Interesting.
I guess we're going to have to watch Friday now to see what it looks like.
Guess we are, huh?
I don't know. See how that works. See how watching TV shows works.
Yeah, it's crazy. You tell me a story, and I connect the dots.
And
that's what I'm here to do.
I should watch on Friday to see what happens then. I'm going to watch your next show, because now I'm interested. What could that
Oh,
look?
You mean you're not interested in the face value of Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson?
I mean, I am if they don't introduce it at 3 p.m. the day it happens.
What's happening on the pay-per-view this week?
Oh, right.
Next week, whatever,
that
whenever it is.
that I'm not going to pay for because I'm interested in it if you build to it. for a little while. But as far as I know, Will
Well, I
Ospreay,
mean, there's no build. We're cutting promos on Triple H.
right? Which is why I'm not buying the pay-per-view, because I don't care. Like, what are they fighting for other than like, oh, this is gonna be great? Okay.
We're paying off the internet people. We're not worried about fucking the paying television audience, you know?
Okay. Well, then the paying television audience is gonna not watch, and the paying like ticket holder is not gonna watch. He's not gonna go, and that's the problem. It's AEW is gonna get worse ratings and ticket wise before it gets better. I don't know that it's going to get better, but it's gonna get worse. I hope it gets better.
Hey, listen, some effing '90s guy. Listen, I'm into it, right? If TK grabbed you guys by the genius, would you stay with the company and let him continue doing so for money, or sue him for harassment? I mean, first of all, I'm no genius, pal. I'm just some fat guy that likes to voice my opinion about things I don't understand.
Well, I'm a genius, so and I would drag Walt with me. So to put it, we would take the money. Absolutely, I would make
it
sure.
sounds so dirty.
I would make sure that money was guaranteed. That's the key to this. We're gonna make sure that money's guaranteed. But as long as that money's guaranteed, we're taking it and we're going. And you know what?
What's his wee shit?
Walt's coming with me because it's gonna. Look, here's the thing: is they're gonna have to pay enough for me to tell Walt, look, you can't turn this down because it's millions.
Okay. What's next? You gonna come out with the people's title? You chooch.
Hey, look, if they're paying me enough, I probably will. No, I gotta put sunglasses on in a semi-well lit arena, in a semi-medium lit arena.
What am I gonna do with you, bro?
Maybe buy me some sunglasses after I get you that $1 million check from Tony Khan.
Sure thing, pal. Whatever you need, man. You know, whatever you need.
Sunglasses.
So this was supposed to be the final topic, but I feel like we left something out to dry that I'd like to tease as we see it start to develop. Tama Tonga made his WWE debut this week, and it appears as if Solo is challenging Roman for the title of Tribal Chief.
I don't know about you, but I popped so hard when Tama Tonga showed up. I was like, oh! Ashley was like, what? Who is it? I'm like, that's Tama Tonga! That's Tama Tonga! That means Ming's gonna be here! Ming, he's gonna be here! That's Ming's son! Oh my god, that's Tama Tonga!
And the word on the street is Jacob Fatu's already under contract too. So are we going to see the reuniting of the Usos?
What up, Oos?
With the old Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, the little baby face bloodline action?
Wouldn't hate it.
It'd be interesting, I think.
Wouldn't hate it, Oos. Oh man. There's so much potential with all that stuff. Crazy. So much potential. Apparently, Eric Rowan may also be part of a little.
I did see that. I mean, Uncle Howdy's getting teased. But here's the question I have for you on that one, right? Like, it's something to be excited about for sure, because this is clearly going to be things that are going to be meant to carry on the legacy of Bray Wyatt, right?
Yeah.
Do we think that Bo Dallas is that caliber of a performer?
I don't know.
I think that's the appropriate answer, right? Because he was getting that Bo leave shit over. Because I mean, he was getting heat with that Bo leave shit.
He's a very charismatic person. He's not his brother, but that's not to say that he's not very charismatic. He's also better in ring, I think. I think his in ring ability potential is a little higher than what his brother's was. And I know that Vince probably didn't like either of those guys, but like clearly their dad was like a big deal. So I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see what happens, because if it's Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy with Braun Strowman, who's also pretty much cleared to come back after having his spine fused back together, he's pretty close, and Eric Rowan, and they do a sort of Bray Wyatt tribute, faction thing in what is now the new sort of faction heavy WWE. Could they be a solid mid card faction that really pays tribute to Bray Wyatt, his character, and all of that? They could bring Alexa Bliss into it as well. I mean, that seems to be the thing, like three dudes and a lady. Bring Alexa Bliss back into it. I mean, they'd be the best version of that three dudes and a lady thing. I don't know. I mean, I'd be into it. I'm certainly curious. I'm more curious about that than I am about a lot of other things. And like, I don't think that it has long-term legs per se, but I think it could certainly generate some buzz. I think if anything, it could generate some money, which would be great. It could go to Bray's kids and stuff, because it would be a little extra. Not that his merch sales aren't great anyway and haven't always been, but it would can kind of continue that merch sale bump, and all that goes to JoJo and the kids. Yeah, man, I'm here for it. It's like both as sort of a semi-philanthropic effort from WWE, but also like just to see what they come up with and to see what they do, because I know there were like plans and storyboards and things written out backstage for the Uncle Howdy character, for Bray, for everybody. So it would be interesting to see how that gets adapted. And then I'd watch another behind the scenes sort of documentary on it as well. It's just an interesting thing, and I think if they did it, it would be nothing but goodwill, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how it all pans out, right? But I think that jury's going to be out on that one. But I do find the Eric Rowan thing very, very interesting, because he canceled fucking some indie dates or whatever. So I don't know. I think it's going to be fun though. I'm definitely going to give it a chance, and I hope that Bo Dallas is able to pick up the ball and run as best as he possibly can. It's.
I have a lot of faith in it. I don't know that it's main event type stuff. I don't think it's going to be like in contention to like threaten Cody, or be in a thing with Seth Rollins or anything like that, or Drew McIntyre. I don't think it's going to touch anybody like that or anything like that. But I think that if it sits in that sort of mid card, faction type stuff with Bobby Lashley and his boy and the Street Profits, or Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain and stuff like that. If it kind of sits there, it'll be the best of those types of factions. And to see them kind of interact with that and build some storylines through that, and just have that kind of be the thing through through what happens at the 9:30 time slot on Raw. Or wherever. Like that's really where stuff like that belongs. And I think it could do well, and I think it'll be good stuff. And because I'm interested in it. I've always been interested in it, and it'd be interesting to see how what was already kind of made up prior to tragedy kind of comes to fruition and is reignited through this. So I'm interested in it for sure, and I'll tune in for it.
Yeah, that's probably fair. All right, pal. Oh, really one piece of business left here. Tom, what's your match of the last 2 weeks?
It's Bayley versus Io. It doesn't really compare.
Interesting
for me. I mean, I've put Bayley over 100 million times. I love her title reigns. I think she's actually a stronger champion than she is. Like, she's one of the rare few that's a stronger champion than somebody who is chasing. However, I've loved this chase for her the whole way through. It's been just phenomenal. and it's everything I wanted it to be. It's everything I want for her as a fan. And I can't wait to see it happen. I loved her promo on SmackDown this week. I thought everything was good. We're going to get some good feuds out of her. She's going to have some great feuds, some great title matches. Bayley's a stalwart. She's a throw the company on your back and run, and she runs faster than most people. So not only was I excited for the match, I thought it was great, top to bottom. That was a great match. I'm excited for the run too. So I think she's a great champ. I think she's the best champ they could have picked for Friday nights in this new era. I'm 100% in, and I was 100% in for the match. I loved Io's title reign as well. I thought it ended perfectly. This was one of those storybook endings, these storybook stories for me that really worked out. Damage Control was a little shaky when they showed up, but then really just some point they hit some tracks and got some traction, and we're just a freight train of just awesome storytelling and power and good matches, good story. Love the ending. Excited to see about what happens moving forward because I have a lot of faith in the role model because she is a role model. So
Jesus. All right, well, my match of the week was the WrestleMania main event, Cody versus Roman. I think it was the culmination of some great storytelling. We got our little nostalgia pops in there, when The Undertaker was in the Stone Cold spot.
Almost shit myself when The Undertaker showed up. Bong! Oh, my God!
Cody finished the story, and we're off and running in a different direction with the bloodline. It's going to be really interested to see how that all shakes out. Really looking forward to it. Some fresh new things going on. I don't know, man. It's a fun time. It's a fun time to be a wrestling fan right now. And oh shit. Toylactor says match of the week definitely goes to Perry versus Punk. Best 29 seconds of my life.
It wasn't even 29 seconds. It was all of about 5. Except if you want to count the them talking to each other, but it was all of about 5 seconds.
Hey, listen, that some effing 90s guy. If Tony Khan revealed himself to be a Tusken Raider in private, would you tell anybody?
Yeah, the Star Wars universe, not the wrestling. The wrestling fans would be like, "What's a Tusken Raider?"
Okay, on that note, hey, we appreciate you hanging out with us. If you're still here, please hit that little thumb. It helps, I guess. I don't even fucking know at this point. I think Tom and I just talked to the clouds, which is a lot of fun for us anyways.
We talked to a few people tonight.
Yeah, we did talk to a few people tonight, so that was cool. It is what it is, but you can check us out over on Twitter and Instagram at @1_FallWC. That's ONE. As always, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. Well, in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I won't be here next week. One Fall WrestleCast.